What is a contingency and why is it so important to know? Hello, everybody. Realtor's Toolbox. Loving Life with Lucy Curran.
Michelle Haas, the Haas Hunter.
Hey, everybody. It's Realtor Rich here. Great to see you all.
In real estate, a contingency refers to a condition or stipulation included in a purchase agreement that must be met for the sale to proceed. These conditions often protect the buyer and allow them to withdraw from the contract without penalties if certain circumstances aren't fulfilled, and along with the selling side.
Absolutely. And so kind of jumping into what the contingencies are from the buyer's side, the buyer's contingencies. And it's interesting about contingencies. Contingencies are really designed to manage the time flow of an escrow. So if you make an offer and you get your offer accepted, now we want, time is of the essence. We want to close in a timely manner. And so only to be fair to both the buyer and the seller, we want to put these time frames into place so that we can begin executing on satisfying the buyer's concerns about the property so they can make a final decision about if they're moving forward, which also frees the seller up in the end. If the buyer doesn't move forward, the seller wants to know as soon as possible so they can put the property back on the market. So these contingencies really set a timeline and keep the flow of the escrow moving forward in a timely manner. And so from the buyer's side, probably the most common contingencies would be like the home inspection contingencies. So time to check out the property. You don't really know if you're going to love this property because you walked through it for 15 minutes. You kind of like the layout, but now you got to dig for the dirt on it. So inspection contingencies are important. Now in your RPA, your residential purchase agreement, or whatever you're using to present an offer on, some of these timeframes may be predetermined in there, and you may need to shorten those time periods or lengthen them, or maybe there's blanks for you to fill it in. But you just want to keep the timeliness of everything in mind so that it works in everybody's, best interest. So if you need more time, you can always ask for it, but try to get these things done quickly. So maybe 17 days is too long to get inspections done. In our RPA that we use, we often see people cut it down to 7 to 10 days because we want to really get through these things quickly and make a determination. So home inspection is a part of that. And then you're going to have an appraisal contingency. So it's important to get the appraiser out there, get the comparables done, and get everything checked out to make sure that it'll appraise for the amount that you're asking for. And then you're going to have a final loan contingency also that needs to be eventually removed. So these are kind of the basic things. Now, once all of these are met, or if they're not met, then the contract can be terminated and the earnest money deposit refunded to the buyer, or everything's good, you remove all the contingencies and then you move forward. So that kind of overlaps a little bit into seller's contingency, kind of a little. But the one thing I didn't mention about the buyer's contingency in just talking about the buyer moving forward purchasing if they didn't own another property, but it could be they have a property that they need to sell. And so their purchase is going to be contingent upon the sale of their own property. So that may come up from time to time as well. But I'm going to turn it over to you to talk more about the seller's contingency, Michelle.
Thank you. Definitely. When I am representing a seller as an agent, I want to keep track of, are these buyers' contingencies being closed when they should? And if they're not, I make that phone call to the buyer's agent and ask, what's going on? How come this isn't closed yet? Sometimes it's as simple, oh, yeah, I should have done that. Or, oh, let me shoot it right over. Sometimes it's really simple. And sometimes something more complicated comes up. But when I'm representing a seller, it's my job to figure out what's going on. Is everybody on track? And that's one way to do it. But also when I represent a seller, sometimes they're selling a home. Rich is starting to talk about this a little bit. They're selling their home and they need to sell their home to purchase the next home. So I'm also communicating that expectation to anybody else in the transaction. So as we always say, communicate, communicate, communicate. And this is just another thing that is going to be communicated. So when those inspections are done, like Rich was talking about, then those contingencies gets closed, and same with the seller. So this is a lot of great information on what is a contingency. You don't hear that term very often out there, do you?
Yes, yes, absolutely. And thank you so much, Rich, for elaborating on the buying side and contingencies, and Michelle with on the selling side, and how important those two are in protecting your clients, either that on the selling side or that on the buying side. So thank you so much. If you guys enjoyed this video, please do subscribe below. And if you guys have any questions or any comments you guys would like to leave, please do comment below. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye, everyone. Realtor's Toolbox.